Hello, fellow hackers. I am here to remind you to hack all things responsibly. And welcome to Hackpires.
Didn't even get to cross.
And welcome to Hackpires, where we're InfoSec by day, hackers by night, and we hack all the things responsibly. So I wanted to touch on for our first video, I thought it was fitting that, they just released new Metasploit modules for Eternal Romance, etc. So what I thought we would do is we would touch on how we were doing this before the new Metasploit module. So we were using fuzzbunch and doublepulsar, because it was the best way to do it without crashing the system on these Windows 2003 boxes. So I'm going to demonstrate how we were doing that. There's a little bit to it, you can't, it's just not point and click. I mean, it's definitely easier than like manually creating payloads and stuff, but there's a little bit of work involved. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into it. First thing we're going to do is we're going to go into our Kali Linux box here, and we're going to, let me zoom in for you guys. We're going to run MSF console here. And the reason for this is because the Metasploit has an auxiliary scanner that checks for double pulsar. It does a really good job actually, and it gives you a lot of information about the system, so you can proceed with the hack. And jump right into it here. Auxiliary scanner SMB underscore MS17-010, hit enter. So if you look at the options on here, it has a check that also checks to see if it's running double pulsar, which is kind of interesting. So if you run this and you see double pulsar already on there and you're not the one who ran it, then well, it's a bad warning sign. So let's go ahead and we're gonna we're just gonna set the R hosts. It's R hosts on this one because you can have more than one. We're just going to use one host here. You can do a whole class C or whatever if you want to, if you're scanning like an entire network. But we're just going to do the one host in our lab, and we're going to hit run. So immediately, you can see it does the check. It tells us, hey, it's likely vulnerable. It's a Windows 2003 server running, R2 running, and it has Service Pack 2. So that's some good information there. So now that we have that, we're going to go back to our Windows machine, which we have fuzzbunch running or installed, and we're going to run it here. And the reason why we're doing it on a Windows box is because, hey, why not? Now there is a way to install it using Wine on Kali, but we decided to go ahead and run it from the Windows box. So the default here would be that server we just scanned, right? And the callback IP address is going to be the box that we're on. No redirection here. Defaults there is good. We're going to create a new project, call it WinTest01. The folder there is good. And alright, so the project's created, and now we're going to load up double pulsar. So we're going to set the variables here. So we're going to leave, most of these are defaults. We're going to default a lot of these. Now we're going to create an actual bin file, an output file, right? So we're going to leave it default there. And the file is, find a place for it. We'll just put it in the same folder as fuzzbunch. dp.bin. And destination IP address, that's good. Port's good. And we're going to execute plugin. It's been successfully created. That's great. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use Eternal Romance. Again, defaults here. So this is for SMB Touch, right? So these are the settings for SMB Touch, and we're just going to kind of default through this for the most part, right? Null session's good, and we're going to run SMB Touch. That's good. Now here are the settings for Eternal Romance. Again, we're going through this. It's good. Now the shellcode file, again, and what it's saying here, it's important, because it's saying here that if you don't use double pulsar, you're gonna, you're gonna crash the system, right? You're gonna blue screen it, which is true. So, this is why we're doing this. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna tell it to go. And the default exploit method's fine. Again, null session's fine, SMB is fine. Now, from our Metasploit scan, we know it's server 2003 server spec 2, so it's already set for that. We're going to leave the target as that. Destination IP address, again, is not changing. And we take a quick look at our Eternal Romance values, and they look good. Hit enter. Now, this is where you cross your fingers and you hope that, the double pulsar is launched successfully. And boom, it is. So we're good. So now the next step is going to be, we're going to go back to our Kali box. And now we have to create our Metasploit payload to inject, right? So here, let me zoom in here for you guys. So we're going to, so what we're going to do is, using MSF Venom, we're going to create a DLL file to inject. Double pulsar is going to inject it for us. And this is kind of the command to inject it, right? So, use MSF Venom -p, Windows interpreter reverse TCP -f, the type of file is going to be DLL. The architecture is going to be x86. The platform is going to be Windows. And the local host here is going to be the Kali box, right? And you select the port. And we're going to put this in the Apache folder so we can easily just browse to it on our Windows box to get a hold of it. So that, while that's getting created, over here in this window, we're going to create our listener, right? And we're just going to create a multi-handler and, set lhost, which is the Kali box again, just standard stuff. We're going to do 4444, and then we're going to run it. And this should run our listener, and our file was created, and we should be good to go. Okay, so our listener's going, and we're going to go back to our Windows machine here, and let's see here. All right, so we're back on the Windows box. So now we're going to go back to double pulsar. Right, so we're going to use double pulsar because that's what's running on there. Again, it's going to ask us to prompt for variables. So, all right, go ahead, SMB, x86, right? Now, this part where we did output install, we're not doing that this time. This time we're going to do number 2. And this is going to allow us to inject our payload. So we're going to do, again, hacking, fuzzbunch. Now I went ahead and I downloaded the meta.dll and I put it in the fuzzbunch folder, and that that's our Metasploit payload, and hit enter. We're gonna leave this default, and the LSAS process is fine. This is also default. Destination's fine, port's fine, and it's asynchronous, or we're gonna execute plugin. Everything looks good on here. The values look good. Yes, go for it. So it says it's success. Now it should say double pulsar succeeded, which is good. Now if we go back here to our Kali box, as you can see, we have a session. If we get UID on the session, we are system level access. Just bring up a shell, IP config. And there you have it. We have access to the Windows 2003 server as system level, and we can pretty much do whatever we want here. You can launch Empire on here, run MebeCats, whatever you decide you want to do using your interpreter console. If you like this video, please subscribe And if you have any questions or comments, please feel free to post them on this video, and we'll try to answer them as soon as we can. But I hope you enjoyed watching our session here on how to exploit MS17-010 on a Windows 2003 server using fuzzbunch. Thank you for tuning in.